Okay, guys, happy 4th of July. Saturday, July 4th, 2026. I'm in the kitchen, just about to take off. It's been a real busy last couple days, so haven't taken the time to make a video. And today you're going to get it while I'm driving. And no, I'm not looking at my phone while I'm driving. You're just going to be a passenger of the seat, and we'll talk for about 10 to 15 minutes, however long it takes to get to the hospital. I suspect there aren't a lot of people on the road today, so the good news is it'll be a short trip for me. They're about 3 miles away. Just share with you something that happened this morning. Again, I've told you how I'm not being present and absent-minded and stuff. And I broke something that's a treasured possession. It's not totally broken. I'm hopeful it's repairable. But I'll show it to you, and I'll tell you the reason why, how it happened. I'm a laissez-faire housekeeper. And this is the dishwasher where I put clean things that I've cleaned from the sink and let them air dry. Okay? I do it before I leave for the day, and at the end of the evening, stuff goes in there. Anyway, I was pulling out my favorite coffee cup, which is something my dad had custom made for him. I think he had several of them made. My parents befriended some potters, John and Nancy Ross, in the Paso Robles area. They were wonderful people. And my mom is kind of a pothead. What else to say? She loved things that were handmade in ceramic: bowls, cups, vases, platters, planters, or something you plant a plant in. But handmade, she really revered that. And so my dad had John Ross make some custom coffee cups. And pardon my thumb here, it says Del Norte District, BSA. That's Boy Scouts. My dad was an avid Boy Scout leader, and this was the Boy Scout district that included Paso Robles. And what I did this morning is I broke the handle on this thing. And I broke it pulling it out of the dishwasher, but turning my head, not paying attention, and I hit the granite countertop with the handle, and it went in two pieces. So obviously I was very upset. And who knows how this stuff happens? I'm not talking breaking the cup, but I could hear my dad's voice saying, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay." And that's the kind of thing my dad would do when you were stressed or whatever. He'd reassure you, remind you that you were capable. And I'm sure my brothers feel the same way. Now, did I hear his voice? I have no idea, but I felt the message. And that's just what I needed in the moment. I need to be reassured that everything that's going on right now is going to be okay. So, onward. I'm going to walk out through our garage. I have the car parked in the driveway. Usually park it in the garage. Suzy's been adamant about our car stays in the garage, so I can't fill up the garage too much. And Lord knows I have a lot of junk in there personally. And I have another project that I've been doing that's occupying the garage a little bit, and that is we have about 5 closets in our little unit here. And the top shelf has about 28 inches above the shelf, so probably about 12 inches of that top shelf really are utilized. So I have a lot of available space. And with me getting a lot of disposables, the diapers, the wipes, the lotions, and the potions, I haven't got those yet, but I need space and I need to organize it. So I'm in the process of putting in shelves, and you'll see shelving material that I got from Home Depot in the garage as we go to the car. So let's go. Oh, this is my door to the garage, and this is my reminders. Water garden, pizza dough. These are the things to take: lunch, Susie's clothes if I need to take her clothes, briefcase, charging cord, earbuds. This is a list for Costco. I'm going to Costco tomorrow with my neighbor Pietro. He has a membership. And then I have an appointment on Monday with Social Security to plead our case to see if we can get Suzy on Part B Medicare. Anyway, I'm coming into the garage. Here's the shelving. It's melamine on particle board, which is very heavy. And so it was a bit of an adventure putting it on my little Toyota RAV here. I had it all stacked in one spot, so I knew it was a lot of weight in one spot, but I felt it was the best way for me to secure it. And my goal is, I got a little holder here, my goal is that you could take this ride with me without looking at my fat stomach. Looks like we might have accomplished that. So we're not far from Suzy, and 2 days ago Suzy was not a willing participant again, and at this point in time it's critical that I get some training so I can do what they call transfers. And I've talked about this before, getting her from the bed to the wheelchair and all that stuff. So she hasn't been willing to do that, but she has told me, she hasn't told me anything, but I communicate to her and I ask her, Suzy, are you willing to do this when we get home? And she's nodded her head yes, so I'm hopeful that she'll be more willing in her environment, even though I'm not really trained. I feel like a fish out of water, but I'm just going to have to roll with it. I'm going to do the best I can. I think I mentioned that we had to get rid of our king-size bed, which was a really nice bed that we had purchased from IKEA a number of years ago. And so I offered it to my neighbor, and she didn't need it. She tried her network, and so I had Pietro come over this morning. We rolled it up and tied it up with rope and covered it with plastic so it was protected and clean. Put everything out at the curb with a sign that said king size bed free. And within an hour, another neighbor that's 2 doors down picked it up, Martine. So I feel good about neighbors benefiting from our stuff when possible. And so that's a good thing. Yesterday, I ordered a brand new hospital bed for Suzy. Originally, I was intending on renting one with the idea that would give me some breathing room and make a better decision on buying. I had a company that sells them, rents them, and even sells used beds. And I had them on the phone 2 days ago, and I asked the guy to email me all this information. And I don't know, maybe he was super busy. He didn't look at least from what I could tell. And then, so I never got the email. I emailed them yesterday, called their office, looked them up online. Turns out they're closed. So that killed that one off. And I was getting a lot of pressure from the hospital, like, you've got to get your stuff now. So I ordered a new one. I went to a place where I had a great rapport with the owner. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. I was going to try to work a deal with him where I could do some online marketing work for him. He has a website that isn't performing all that well. And there's a thing called Google Business Profile. If you type in anything, plumber near me, near the top are 3 businesses. These are free to the business. Google provides it at this point, and it's a great way for local businesses to generate calls and business. So he ranks pretty good, but there's some factors that he's missing, and he only has like 27 reviews over 10 years, and I can tell he's a quality person. So anyway, I gave him some suggestions, and unfortunately he wasn't there yesterday because I was going to say, can we kind of create a win-win deal, win for me, win for you? You know, I'm not going to be able to attack this like I would if I had all the time in the world, because my wife's going to be the priority, but I can give you a couple hours a week, I think. And I can coach him on, you know, how to respond to negative reviews, how to ask for reviews, because usually that's the problem with most businesses. They think that if somebody's happy, they'll just write a review, and the truth is, this guy should be getting several reviews a week. So anyway, that's that. I went for a walk with Pietro this morning so I could debrief him kind of on what Suzy's situation is and all the things that I'm trying to get handled. It's about 11:45, so I had to water the garden. I got up at about 4:30. Seems like a constant non-stop. The house is a total mess, so I need to get that together. Started making some pizza dough last night and pulled it out of the fridge this morning and worked on it a little bit. And I've invited Pietro over for homemade pizza tomorrow night. I told him, here's the deal. I'm going to make the dough and I've got the sauce, but you have to bring all the toppings. So cheeses, sausage, salami, whatever you want. I've got basil in the garden. And this whole pizza thing, it wasn't intentional, but my family had a tradition of my mom making pizza for the 4th of July. And why is that? I have no idea. You know, she would make them from scratch with, you know, flour and yeast and all that, and quality sausage, and it was great tasting sauce, lots of oregano and garlic, and we would have some neighbors, the Lawrences, come over. They were from England originally, and we would have the Nordmans, who originally were in our neighborhood in Whittier, California, and then after a couple of years, I think they moved to nicer hood, and eventually we moved to La Mirada. But it was always a good time. My dad would make homemade ice cream, and we'd shoot off fireworks in our little street. I remember my dad had a wooden ladder that he would tack like I don't even know what it was, but it would rotate. So you it had a nail hole in it, and you tack this thing through the hole onto this wooden ladder. It was like 6-foot ladder, and this thing had a series of little firework charges that would spin around different colors, and it spun for a considerable amount of time. So those are, you know, obviously the sparklers and all that other stuff. So homemade ice cream, pizza, friends. That's kind of a wonderful 4th of July memory. Anyway, I'm on the property of the hotel complex. It's a multi-buildings. I'm going to be driving into the parking garage right now. I'm not going to touch my camera until my car is stopped. So I'm trying to think of what else to tell you. I watered the garden. I don't know if I told you that. I noticed a zucchini that I hadn't seen in a while, so that's a positive thing. My zucchini has kind of waned a little bit here in the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens. I've got plenty of cucumbers, and noticed some eggplant. This first year I'm growing eggplant successfully. I've got a lot of tomatoes that are in various stages of ripeness. I think I've got some critters in the garden that are stealing them prematurely, so I take them in as soon as they start to pick them, as soon as they start to get a little color. So I gave some to Pietro this morning when he helped me move the mattress, and I gave him some fruit. I brought some fruit from a fantastic fruit stand that's family owned. It's kind of off the beaten path. Most people don't know about it, and I did a little video on that, and I'll post that later. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. Suzy did do most of her therapy yesterday, but at kind of a reduced pace. The last one she declined, which was speech therapy, and it was doing it with another patient. So it was, and it required that she get in the wheelchair, which she just didn't want to do. She wasn't dressed, and she didn't want to get in the chair and didn't want to get dressed. So she's been eating, so that's a good sign. She looked tired of me yesterday, so I don't know. We'll just take it one day at a time. Love you guys. Thanks for all the support, the encouragement, the recommendations from different members of my family and friends. And shout out to Sally Calvert. I'd asked her to bring some books that I might be able to read to Suzy. I don't know if she'll be receptive, but I'm trying to think of ways. I'm going to have to be the nurse, the nurse's aide, the janitor, the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, and the physical therapist. And I feel like I have less than 5% of ability right now. I have the desire, but the ability is lacking. And I did do some searches on YouTube for tutorials, and there are some. So I thought that maybe when we get Suzy home, we'll view these together and do some practices. And practice getting in and out of bed, practice getting dressed. Well, practice getting dressed. Getting dressed is getting dressed. Practice getting in the car and getting out of the car. I want to be super careful not to hurt or injure her inadvertently. I wouldn't do that ever intentionally, but just because of a lack of awareness. That's what my concern is. So anyway, poco a poco, step at a time. And I just hear my dad's voice saying, it's going to be okay. And that's what he told my mom. As they were getting older, my dad was slowing down. He had some health issues that he really didn't talk about or like to talk about. And my mom said, I don't know what I'm going to do when you're gone. And my dad always said, you're going to be okay. And my dad was very organized. He had everything set up. So in that regard, my mom didn't have to pull a ton of pieces together. She needed to come up to speed. And I think my brothers helped a lot. Friends, neighbors helped her a lot. I helped her little. I was in Mexico. I helped her get her stuff set up on auto pay for utilities and a variety of other things. And I just told her that she needed to monitor what the bills were, make sure that what was on the bill was accurate. But other than that, she didn't need to write a check. So love you guys. Peace. Happy 4th of July.